Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Voices of the Grange, a student led podcast where we share the stories and people that shape our school community. Through this podcast, we aim to give greater visibility to the academic, artistic, and cultural life of our school through meaningful conversations led by students. Today, I'm especially excited to welcome our very first guest. Please join me in welcoming our head teacher, Miss Kate Ingamells. Miss Ingamells, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
It's a pleasure, Martina.
So, Miss, we're gonna start with a round of questions to warm up and start with all the energy. So, do you prefer empanadas or pastel de choclo?
Ooh, empanadas,
Do you prefer the Atacama Desert or Patagonia?
Patagonia,
Beach day or mountain hike?
beach day,
Early bird or night owl?
definitely a night out.
Netflix or cinema?
Netflix,
Cooking or eating out?
eating out,
Steeplechase or family day?
steeplechase.
And why do you prefer steeplechase?
I'm a PE teacher, so it all comes back to sport.
Makes sense, makes sense. So, Miss, you've lived in and worked in several countries. Do you have a favorite place or country that has stayed with you?
All the places that I've lived in and worked in have very different characteristics and different things that make them special. And I take each one of those special things from those places that I've been. So not one of them comes across as a favorite, but they all have their own special places in my heart.
That's beautiful, Miss. Having experienced many cultures, which languages do you speak? And do you have a favorite word in Spanish?
So I speak English, I speak French. Well, I used to speak French fluently, but because I don't practice French anymore, it's definitely not as fluent as it used to be. And I'm trying to learn Spanish. A favorite word in Spanish? Probably not. But there's obviously common words that get used a lot. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of peros and a lot of comos, but
Yeah.
but no, not a favorite word at this point in time.
We know that you have a passion for outdoors activities and adventure. Where does that come from?
When I was a child, I was heavily involved in the Scout movement. So I was a venture scout myself. My dad and my brother was involved before I was. He was a Cub Scout. So it all started there, and my dad really enjoyed camping. He did that as a child. So we would go camping, we would have fires outside, we would go hiking. So it's all come from that. I also did Duke of Edinburgh as a child as well. So it's just a passion that's grown from then, really, from through school, through my own activities, and carried on all the way through university and beyond.
Wow. Outside of school, what are some of your favorite hobbies or activities?
Outside of school takes up a lot of my time at the moment, but I do enjoy to go walking. I do enjoy to swim. Love to go out and eat out and have kind of date nights with my husband and make sure that we stay connected in that way. So yeah, I guess there's probably the main three. And when it's holiday times, I like to pick up a book or two and make sure that I read.
Reading is very good. You learn a lot of things reading.
Absolutely.
Is there a sport you particularly enjoy, either participating in or following it?
So I'm an avid rugby fan. So I will watch the English Premiership each weekend when the matches are on. But being a PE teacher, I'm really interested in all sports. So I enjoy watching sports, taking part. I don't do as much now as I used to. But I do really still enjoy going to the gym and swimming and things like that.
In a scale from 1 to 4, how much do you enjoy spicy food? Where 1 is very mild and 4 is extreme.
Well, 4 in Chile would be extreme for Chile, but probably isn't extreme for me from where I've lived before.
Oh.
So on my scale, from 1 to 4, I'd probably be a 2 or a 3. But in Chile terms, I guess that would be a 4.
Miss Ingamells, you've had a truly international career, working in the UK, France, Kenya, Mauritius, and now Chile. I'm sure many people in our school community would love to learn more about your international journey. What first inspired you to become a teacher?
Wow, that was a long time ago, and I guess I started coaching or being involved in helping children younger than I was. When I was about 14, I started coaching sports when I was 14 years old. I qualified as a swimming teacher when I was 16. I put myself through university in terms of finances by teaching swimming lessons. I think the idea of going into teaching came through my love of sport. And it was something that I really enjoyed to do, and I really enjoyed passing on to other people. So that's why I became a PE teacher. I went and did a sports science degree rather than straight into teaching because I wasn't sure that teaching was the thing that I wanted to do. So at the end of my 3 years of my degree, I then transferred across and did a PGCE, which qualified me as a teacher. By then, I'd understood that was where my heart was, and that's what I wanted to do, and that helping other people, other children, was where my passion was.
You worked across a range of roles from physical education to senior leadership.
Mm-hmm.
How has that journey influenced your perspective on education?
I think the main thing for me that still lives with me today and drives everything that I do now, and even back then when I first started teaching at the age of 22, everything that I do, the children are at the heart of the decisions that I make. The decisions that are made to ensure that they can get the very, very best that we can give them. And that drives my decision making today. It drives my decision making even as a PE teacher and teaching netball on the court and making sure that they got everything that they needed to get from that lesson, is to make sure that the children benefit from my input. And I guess in my role now as head of this school, I have a much bigger influence in that decision making, which is a real honour for me and a real privilege, so that I can really ensure that every single child can have the benefit of what this school can provide.
Looking back now, what is one of your most memorable anecdotes as a teacher?
There's many, and obviously with my history, it's probably going to come from an area of sport. There was one child who, unfortunately, we had the swimming gala, the inter-house swimming gala, and I was the main official for that gala, and I had to disqualify this girl from an event. And she was a top swimmer. She swam for a club, but she'd made a mistake, and I had to disqualify her, and she was convinced she was going to win. So she burst into tears at the end of the race when she got out, and I gave her a hug and explained what the situation was. I said, but this does not define you. You've got 3 more races. Move on, leave this behind, move on to the next thing. She got in the pool for the next race that she had in her itinerary, and she won that race, and the second and the third one and the last one. And she came up to me and she gave me a big hug. She said, I'll never forget that you told me I had to leave the past in the past. And it was amazing for me on that day.
That's beautiful, Miss. Like, whoa. And you recently stepped into your role as head teacher. What excites you most about this new chapter of your life?
It's a new chapter of my life, but it's also approaching a new chapter of this school's life. Obviously, my first headship of a school of this magnitude is incredibly honouring. I'm very honoured to be in this position. I'm incredibly humbled by this as well, in the fact that I am a part of the journey. It's part of my journey, and I am part of this school's journey. As we look forward to the centenary, there's many things that we can think about doing about how we push this school further into the future, how we make sure that our children are getting the very best from the education that we can provide, and how we're best serving our community as well. We have currently over 2,200 children in this school, but we're based on a history of 98 years of students from the past, but also how many more years of students in the future. And everything that we do today will help define that future moving forwards. So that's always in my mind. How can we make sure that we honour our legacy and we contribute to that legacy as well?
Wow. You're also the first woman being a head teacher, right?
I am, yes.
That should be a great honor.
It is, and I take that with a great deal of pride, and I hope that the girls in this school recognise that as something that they can aspire to in the future. That women can do really big jobs and do them well, and they don't have to wait in the wings.
That's motivating, Miss. Girls are powerful, women are
Girl power.
powerful. Yes, Miss. What are some of your key priorities or goals for the school moving forward on?
I think primarily we have our development plan that we set a couple of years ago, and we've got to make sure that we're working towards fulfilling that development plan. We'll be working towards another school inspection in a few years' time, so we need to make sure that we are living up to our goal of ensuring that we are fulfilling our international school values and perspectives. And I think we've got to remember that every day that we take a step forward is a step forward for the benefit of the school. So making sure that we understand who we are, what our values are, what our Grangonian profile is, and how do we make sure that every single student of this school works towards the Grangonian profile and leaves the Grange as a Grangonian.
How important is it for you to build a strong sense of community within this school?
It's incredibly important because a school can only be successful when three different parts of the community work together, and that's the school, the pupils within that school, but also the parents. And if one of those things are not functioning well, then the rest doesn't work either. So building that community is incredibly important. Making sure that parents are on board with what we're doing is very important to the success of the school. Making sure that the children understand what they are part of, so that they take the best from the opportunities given to them.
Wow, that's like a lot of work to think about, and I just can't imagine being like a head teacher. It must be a lot of work.
It's quite a bit of work, but I've got a great team around me, and it's not just me. There's a lot of people in this school that have the same vision and want the same things, and as long as we're all working together as a community, it will be achievable.
So, Miss, one of the aims of this podcast is to highlight the artistic and cultural life of our school. Why do you think these areas are important to our education?
Because education needs to be holistic. It's not just about what grades we get on a paper. It's about educating the whole being, whether that's through your spirit, through your mind, or through your body. And we do that very well at the school. Obviously, our physical body is taken very well care of by the sports and PE department and all of the other things that we do. And our mind is taken care of by the academics. But our spirit, as we've spoken about earlier today, actually in a meeting, that is met by the proposals that we give the students in terms of arts and music and drama. And it just fills the soul. It gives a different dimension. It opens doors that perhaps wouldn't be opened any other way. And for me, it's an essential part of a child's education.
You have constantly supported music, arts, and drama throughout your career.
Mm-hmm.
How do this contribute to students' development beyond academics?
I think for me, the most important part is, if you remember back when you were in lower prep and you stood on that stage and you did your shows. Can you remember that far back?
Yeah, I remember.
Remember? Do you remember how much confidence you got from standing on that stage and singing and dancing on the stage, and then it continued through into upper prep? I think the energy that can be given through music, art and drama to a child is incredibly important. And if that is then developed through into adolescence and into adulthood, and having an appreciation for how music, art and drama make you feel, it's incredibly important. I mean, I don't drive to work anymore, but I used to drive to work every morning and home every night. And I would always have the music on in my car, because it made me feel good, because I could sing along in the car to good songs. and it's important. It starts the day off in a very, very positive way. And if music can do that, or if you're interested in art and you have that desire and the talent to be able to draw something, I wish I had that talent. I definitely don't. But I think it's something that just adds to your general well-being. And the more that we can do that in today's day and age, with all of the issues that are going on in the world, if we can have something that we personally can latch onto to improve how we feel, it's only positive.
So, Miss, you just took me back to when I was in kinder, and I want to take you back when you were a student. What was your favorite subject as a student, and why?
Okay, well, I think it's probably fairly obvious that PE was one of my favourite subjects. Why? Because I just enjoyed being out and on the field or on the netball court or in the swimming pool and doing things, and was somewhat good at those activities. Other than that, I really enjoyed geography. I enjoyed understanding about different areas and about different landscapes. And I guess that's why I've got an affinity to outdoor adventure as well. And you're going into the natural environment. And I think the natural environment really centers you as well. If you go somewhere where you can't see houses or cars or roads, and you're going into the wilds down in Patagonia, and you are centered in something that is much bigger than you, that's incredibly grounding, and makes you very, very grateful for what you have. So I think those two subjects probably are ones that I remember the most.
When you were in final years at school,
Mm-hmm.
which career paths were you considering at the moment, aside from being a teacher?
Yeah. Well, I guess being a teacher when I was in school, wasn't really on the radar. It was something I was doing, but I hadn't really considered it as a career until probably later on into my final year of school and going off to university. When I was thinking about what career would I want to do, law came into the equation. I was thinking about a career in law. I also thought about being a police dog handler. Because I love dogs. That was probably the reason back then. And probably the most extreme thought process of a job career was being a fighter pilot in the Royal Air Force. And I actually went to an interview to become an officer in the RAF when I was 18. Yeah.
Wow. Do you have a memorable or funny anecdote from your time at school?
Probably. There's probably ones that I can talk about and probably ones that I can't talk about as well. What's some of the funny things that we did is, I think probably one of my most memorable times. We were very lucky at my school. We had a sixth form common room. Something I know the third and fourth Melios here at school would love to have, but we don't. But I didn't have a dual curriculum that I had to study. We were just studying A levels. So there was a room where we would go after lessons or when we had free periods and study. Sometimes we didn't do very much study. Sometimes we just sat and talked and discussed things that were important to us as 17 and 18-year-olds. And I think that was really formative in a way of ensuring that we remain grounded in what we were doing, and we build our friendships. And I've still got some very, very strong friendships from that time.
May I ask if you were part of any pranks as a student, or you were in trouble at school?
Pranks, not so much. I don't think we pranked so much. There were children who did prank, probably the boys more than the girls. So I don't think I was ever involved in a prank. Was I ever in trouble? Yes. Yes, I did get a detention. And yes, if I got a detention at school, I was in double the amount of trouble at home, regardless of whether I thought I deserved the detention or not. I didn't get that many. In fact, I probably only got 2 detentions in my whole lifetime at school. And that would have been for not handing in project work for a subject that I didn't really enjoy.
And finally, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self as a student, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Work hard, but play hard too. make sure that you seize every opportunity that comes your way, even if it means going outside of your comfort zone. So if a service opportunity comes up to go to an old people's home, but that might make you feel uncomfortable, go and do it anyway, because you will learn so much. Make sure that that homework is done and it's done on time, because then you'll have less pressure for the next bit of work that needs to be done. But I think work hard, play hard signifies what I mean. But making sure every opportunity that lands on your plate, you take that opportunity with both hands, and you do that job or that task or that thing to the very best of your ability.
What qualities do you think are most important for young people today?
That's a really good question, especially in today's world. I think that young people need to be kind. They need to be kind to themselves and to one another. I think young people need to understand the difference between what is being seen on social media in terms of what is real. And I think that young people need to ensure that their center is still their values. The values that we have in school are incredibly important. The values that our pupils have with their families are probably shared with the values that we have at school. And I think if young people can maintain their values and live their lives to those values, then I think they'll be fine. So I think making sure that they stay true to their values and remembering that kindness is incredibly important in today's world would be the thing that I would say.
And to finish, what message would you like to share with the students listening to this podcast?
I think that for all of you listening to this podcast, I think we should celebrate the first edition of it. I think we should congratulate the students who have been involved in producing it. And if the opportunity comes along for you to get involved, I think get involved, because it's something that can really showcase who the Grange is and what we do here and what we profess to be. And I think get involved in that. And yeah, long may it live. Well done.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for being part of our very first episode. To everyone listening, thank you for turning in to Voices of the Grange. Stay with us as we move into the next section of today's episode, now hosted by Salvadora Chelat, who will be joined by two very special guests. Hello, and welcome back to Voices of the Grange. In this section of the podcast, I'm joining by two very special guests who play a key role in the student leadership at our school. They are ambassadors of the student body, role models for younger pupils, and a bridge between students and school leadership team. Please join me in welcoming our head boy, Leon Peñafiel, and our head girl, Amaya Selva. Leon, Amaya, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation.
Okay, to get started, let's do a quick round of rapid questions. Just answer with your first instinct. Early morning or late night settings?
Late night studying.
I'm more of a early morning type of guy.
Steeplechase or cross country?
Steeplechase.
Steeplechase.
Sushi or pizza?
Sushi.
Sushi.
Plan everything or go with the flow?
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Binge watching or one episode at a time?
One episode at a time.
Yes, same.
Okay, let's get to know you a bit more beyond your roles. What is something people might not know about you?
Something people might not know about me is that I'm half English, that my mom is from England, and I lived in Australia for 5 years when I was younger. I grew up there.
I think something that many people don't know about me is I'm the youngest of four, so I'm the baby of my family.
Oh, that's very interesting. What are your main interests or passions outside the school?
I really enjoy reading, and I love going to the beach. I like going on walks.
I love playing sports, especially rugby, and going skiing in the winter.
Okay, that's so cool. Next question. How would your friends describe you in 2 words?
Mm, I think not two words, but easily distracted. I think I get distracted really fast. So maybe in the interview I'll start talking about something, then go on to a new thing. And what else? Friendly, maybe. I think I'm pretty approachable. The both of us. So
I think my friends would say I'm like someone who laughs at everything. And also, I believe everything they tell me. So I'm someone who will believe any lie that you tell me.
Okay, and what has been your favorite moment at the school?
I think like the viaje de estudio we went to England, or like school trips in general when we went to Bichilangi and Yerba Loca, and when we were younger as well, like Lagunillas. That those are very good
yeah,
memories.
I think my rugby tour to England, or maybe a very special moment, was doing the first day speech. I think it was pretty amazing to stand there and talk to the pupils.
Yes. You have been both taking an important leadership role this year. How would you describe the role of head boy and head girl to someone that who doesn't know?
Fun, but pretty stressful. I think we do a lot of things that aren't seen always, but we need to make the most out of it. The year will go by fast, so try to be happy when you're doing things.
And also, I think like the role is very important because we're like role models, as you said, for the younger students, and also like for especially the our peers in our level and the other prefects. Like they'll come up to us with problems they want to be solved, or questions they have about things coming up.
And yes, and what motivated you to apply to these positions?
Well, in reality, we didn't apply, so the students vote as well as the teachers, and then we go to an interview with the SLT, and after the interview, the prefects are chosen, and we have the prefect induction, which consists of a 3 day trek where we go camping and do leaderships activities, and then after that we are chosen.
And me and Leon didn't know we were head boy and head girl until the prize giving ceremony. So we found out the same time everyone else found out. So it was
That's
a big surprise.
yes, a
Yes.
very big surprise. How does a typical week look for you or like on these roles?
I mean, like it's a lot of answering emails. We get a lot of emails, and planning things we have, meetings. We had an assembly. Leon went to an assembly today. I went to one yesterday, last week as well. And
Yes, I think every week is different, but as Amaya said, it's the constant email responding, trying to work out activities, having meetings, and being with younger students. We've been going to the upper prep assemblies this couple of weeks, so basically that.
That's very admirable. As head boy and head girl, you are seen as role models within the school. What does uh, being a role model means to you?
I think like it's someone to look up to, but also it's important for role models to be like approachable and someone that you see like at your same kind of level that you can easily go up to and talk to and ask questions. And I think that we are very like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things we take most pride in is that we are really approachable. We're really friendly. So if you need anything, we'll be here for you. And it's really an honor to be the people who younger students look up to, but always do it with a sense of responsibility because you don't know when a seventh básico student may be seeing or an upper prep student.
That sounds like it takes you a lot of time, but how do you balance leadership with responsibilities and with academic work, especially you being in fourth medio?
Well, I think it's a constant battle. I don't think we have any piece, but you try to go with it, have fun, and enjoy it. The idea is to, before the week, organize what meetings do you have, what tests, and then find a way to do it, to study after your extracurriculars or before. Try to make the most out of your free time.
And for me, at least, I have like my planner that without that, I don't know what I would do because it's like every day there are more things added to like the list of things we have to do. But as Leon said, like having fun and enjoying the roles that we play and like just like facing the things that you have to do, not looking too far ahead because otherwise it gets overwhelming.
That sounds very difficult. Next question. What is one initiative or idea you would like to develop or strengthen this year?
Well, we really talked about like strengthening the bonds throughout the school. So we feel like in years ahead, like past years, the prefects and the head boy and head girl don't really like see them, but like you don't really know what they do or see them doing like things. So this year we want to like join more with upper prep, with lower prep, and
Yes, increase the visibility of what we do and try to include younger students more. As Amaya said, the monitors, upper prep, and even first medio, second medio, try to have them lead more activities.
Yes, talking about younger students, we all know that you are on your final year of school, which is a big moment. What advice would you give to your younger self in 7 Básico?
you wanna go or
Yeah, I'll go for it. To try to continue even though you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. It will get better and just persevere through it. It will get really fun doing what you like. So that
I think for me, like to be more confident in myself and not doubt myself so much, or not compare myself so much to yeah, like other people, what other people are doing, and to like trust in my own knowledge.
And what piece of advice would you give some younger students who are looking up to you?
I think to like make the most of um your time at school. I think everyone hears that all the time, but try to use the things that the school gives you to get involved in activities like service and the arts, sports, because it gives you spaces to explore sides of yourself, and also you get to meet people that you wouldn't usually mix with. So I think that like to get involved in as much as you can.
is similar to Amaya to don't be scared to try new things. If you want to join the musical, join it, try a new sport, try it, join a club. So really put themselves out there because if you aren't good at one thing, maybe you'll be good at another or you can try again.
And I also have another piece of advice that is to like be welcoming as well, because it's easy to say go try things, but a lot of the time you enter a space or a team that is very bonded, or you can feel like excluded or not welcome. So that's also very important.
Okay, now let's look at a little bit ahead. What are your plans or aspirations for the future?
A stressful question, but I at least want to go and study abroad. I'm very motivated by that, so I'm looking at England or the Netherlands as well.
I want to stay here and I want to become a doctor. So I'm looking forward to my like 12 years of education ahead, but I really want to be a doctor.
That's very interesting. Leona Maya, thank you both for your time and for sharing your experiences with us. It's inspiring to hear how you are contributing to the school community and representing your peers. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us for this episode, Voices of the Grange. Stay tuned for more conversations with members of our school community. See you next time.